That movie is a shit show. What you think you see, what you think you hear, that's what it's about. It's all theater of the mind. No, it's garbage. It's garbage. Mood and atmosphere. Now that I really like. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I want to see. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to this Halloween and 6 weeks out Q&A. It is Friday, September the 2nd, 2022. It is 2:08 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we are exactly 6 weeks away today. 6 weeks away today, Halloween Ends will be released on Friday, October the 14th, 2022, 6 weeks away. I thought it's time we have a specific sort of Halloween kind of check-in. How are you guys feeling? How are you doing? Let me know in the comment section below if you're watching after the fact or if you're watching live. Get those questions ready, those juicy questions ready in regards to Halloween Ends, anything Halloween related. We can talk about other things as well, but I thought it would be fun to sort of talk about where we're at. I mean, listen, this is it. We are in the home stretch now. This is the end of Halloween as we know it. I find it kind of funny that people need to, well, I guess I don't really find it kind of funny. It is the world of fandom after all. But I've been saying for a couple of years now that this is going to be the end of Halloween as we know it. But I think it should go without saying that obviously there's going to be more Halloween movies at some point. Eventually, in some sort of new iteration, whatever that means, right? Maybe they go the anthology route, maybe they go to streaming, maybe they go, will Michael Myers come back? Sure, at some point, somewhere down the line, the Michael Myers story will probably be told again. But as I've been saying for a very long time, this is the end of Halloween as we know it to be. Now, unless Halloween Ends, shatters box office records and exceeds expectations and is phenomenal and is, oh my God, and they want to continue this iteration of Michael Myers and Halloween. Maybe. I mean, they would probably do that without David Gordon Green, unless they offered him a handsome sum of money. I don't know. But of course, we know the rights go back to the Akkads. For all intents and purposes, this is the end of Halloween as we know it. So what is that? This is the end of David Gordon Green's trilogy. This is the end of this story. And hopefully it is the end of any Halloween movie connected to the 1978 original. I mean, that doesn't mean you can't 20 years from now make, or for however long, 30 years, 40 years, continue to make movies connected to the 78 original. Sure, you could do that, but Michael Myers is in his 60s right now. So unless you're going to turn him literally supernatural and he's going to be like, 105, 30, 40 years from now, it's probably not the case. That's why I keep saying that this is the end of Halloween as we know it, connected to the 1978 original. It's the end of that story. So that's why I believe any future Michael Myers Halloween movies, barring some sort of phenomenal, box office critical response, oh my God, Halloween Ends is one of the greatest slasher movies of all time, and they feel they need to continue this story, it's not going to happen. But barring that, any future Michael Myers movies will probably be a reboot, remake, reimagining of some sort. Right? Some kind of reboot, reimagining, whatever the case is. So that's why, although people can roll their eyes and say, oh yeah, sure, this is the end as we know, but it is. And this is something that I think might be kind of maybe emotional for some people or moving for some people. I don't know. Haven't seen the movie. I have no idea. We know the rumors are out there. But 6 weeks away, 6 weeks away, Halloween will end as we know it to be. And I have to admit, I'm kind of hoping that's true. You know, I hope we don't continue this, you know, and we follow her granddaughter, and then her granddaughter has children, and we follow the granddaughter's children. Or, you know, you know what I mean? That's just kind of how I feel about it anyway. But how are you guys doing? How are you guys doing? By the way, in case he is watching, there was a super chat that came in last week on last week's stream with Miko Hughes and Cecil Laird. Juan Rivera, great supporter, Juan Rivera, sent in a $10 super chat, which I did not see. It was my mistake. I did not see it. And he was gifting the super chat. It was a $10 super chat, and he wanted me to answer 3 non-super chat questions for his super chat, which was a really cool thing. So thank you, Juan Rivera. I will do that today, my man Juan. I will do it today. Yes, I will do it today. So there will be three non-super chat questions I will answer because Juan knows. I mean, this is, depending on what we're talking about, this can be a very busy chat room. And sometimes, you know, obviously I have to answer the super chats. They take priority for obvious reasons. And sometimes it can be difficult to get to the non-super chat ones. It's not personal. It's just kind of the way it goes. You know what I mean? So I will do that today, Juan. Thank you for that. And thank you for the reminder earlier in the week. I appreciate that. Okay, let's get back to the other, where are you guys here? There we are. Okay, now before we get to the super chats though, let me jump over to the other screen here. And let's, hang on a sec. Let me just jump over to the other screen. There we are. This Empire Magazine. Have you guys checked out Empire Magazine yet? Of course, we have this new photo that was released. There's been a few new images that were released in regards to Halloween Ends. And, you know, I mean, it's, they're all right. I can't help, every time I look at this woman, she kind of, is it just me, or does she kind of look like a young, or younger, I should say, she kind of, I know some people, she kind of looks like a younger Lin Shaye. I don't know what it is. It's not Lin Shaye. Is it just me, or do you guys see Lin Shaye in there? I don't know. I don't know what it is. This is probably just the way the photograph looks. It's probably staged. It's probably a promotional image. We probably won't see this exact shot from this exact angle looking exactly like this in the actual film, although you might see some variation of it. Basically, it just looks like a behind the scenes set promotional image. And it's fine. It's fine. I look at it and I go, you know, okay. It just looks like he's kind of showing her the knife. Look at my knife. Look at my knife. Do you like that knife? You want that knife? You want that knife? You want that knife? It's kind of like what he's doing. Is it Corey Cunningham? Is it Michael Myers? I don't know. David Gordon Green is still playing with and this is like 2 days old news. I know I'm late to the party on this. David Gordon Green is still playing with Halloween Ends, ending it. Excuse me. David Gordon Green is still playing with Halloween Ends, ending. It changes every day. Exclusive image. There it is. He goes on to say, for years now, we've known that, well, this is actually the article. Let me bring this article up a little bigger so I can read this. It says, for years now, we've known that David Gordon Green's Halloween trilogy would close with an entry titled, appropriately enough, Halloween Ends. Fresh from revitalizing the slasher saga with 2018's confusingly titled Halloween, a direct sequel to John Carpenter's 1978 original that ignores the rest of the films in the series, the filmmaker most recently sent Michael Myers on another murderous Haddonfield rampage in last year's Halloween Kills, setting up a concluding chapter of Laurie Strode's story for the upcoming threequel. But even though we know that Halloween Ends will bring some kind of ending, quite how that plays out is still in flux. Speaking to Empire in the Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery issue, speaking to Empire in the Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery issue. That's such a weird title for that movie, but I'm looking forward to it because I quite enjoyed the first one. Green claimed that he's still tinkering with Halloween Ends ending. It changes every day, he says. In theory, the picture is locked, but this morning I called the editor and said, what if we do this one thing? There is, after all, pressure to get it right. Ends not only marking the end of this Halloween... Excuse me, try that again. Ends not only marking the end of this Halloween continuity. There's a lot of ends in this article. Ends not only marking the end of this Halloween continuity, but the end again for Jamie Lee Curtis's iconic Scream Queen Laurie. I speak with John and Jamie Lee Curtis on a regular basis about it, says Green, who promises big things for his final slice of Halloween. It's exciting, uncertain, satisfying, and sad. I've enjoyed the ride, but it's probably time to get off. I think we're going to go out with a bang. Still, after the ultra-gory murder fest of Halloween Kills, the director claims he's reining himself in a little more this time. Quote, if our second film was free for all violent chaos, this is a more intimate, atmospheric conclusion. Okay, well, you're mood, atmosphere. You're speaking my language there, David. He says, with the ending just around the corner, he's hoping Green gives it a real good stab. And of course, that's the Empire issue there. Now at the bottom here, it says, read Empire's full Halloween End story in the October 2022 issue, on sale Thursday, the 1st of August. Is that true? Feels like it should be the 1st of September, but nonetheless, maybe it kind of, because that was a month ago, this article kind of feels, maybe that's a typo. I'm not entirely sure. Anyway, so that's what they had to say there. There's also, let me go back here. There we are. There's also, there's three comparisons that David Gordon Green sort of compares this new movie to. Christine, obviously, we've known about that. One is also My Bodyguard. My Bodyguard is one, and I actually own that movie. I own My Bodyguard on DVD. Yes, children, this is a DVD. What's that? No, this is a, I don't have it on Blu. I don't even know if they have it on Blu-ray. I doubt they have it on 4K. I have no idea. Oh, look at that. There's still a piece of the plastic there. This is a great movie. My dad actually introduced me to this movie. Now, I haven't watched it in a while, but when I think of the movie, I think, well, it's essentially about this kid who's bullied, okay? And he hires the sort of estranged big guy in the high school that, you know, kind of nobody really likes, but he's a big guy, played by Adam Baldwin, one of the Baldwin bros, to be, I think he's one of the Baldwin brothers, right? Adam, Billy, well, yeah, I think there's four of them. Anyway, he hires him to be his bodyguard. And it's an interesting story. It's not a horror movie by any stretch of the imagination. It's really a drama about this relationship between this kid who's bullied and this guy he hires to be sort of his protector. Now, when I think of what we do know about My Bodyguard, and David Gordon Green has said, I believe his exact quote was, let me just see here. His exact quote was, oh, maybe I don't have it up here. Do I have it up here? I thought I did. Maybe I don't. I don't think I do. Yes, he says, David Gordon Green says that what I took emotionally from them, I'm trying to translate into a new form. I believe this is from the Empire article. So maybe it has been out for a while and we're just getting to it now. I have no idea. But I believe this is from the Empire article. There are 3 movies he watched before filming Halloween Ends. And one was, of course, we know is Christine. One is My Bodyguard. Blah, blah, blah. And the other one is Butcher Baker Nightmare Maker, which goes by another name as well, which is a 1981, I think, horror movie. But My Bodyguard, is not a horror film. So I'm thinking that he probably takes the emotional aspect of this kid that, I mean, maybe the kid in My Bodyguard is sort of like the Corey Cunningham kid. And maybe, you know, he tries in some sort of way, he sees Michael as his protector or something. Do you know what I mean? Like in the same ways that the kid in My Bodyguard tried to hire, Adam Baldwin's character to be his protector. And I'm not saying that Corey Cunningham literally goes and tries to bargain with Michael, hey man, be my protector. And he's like, okay. I'm not saying that. Don't take it literally. Take it more symbolically, in the sense that maybe that's what Corey, like his obsession with Michael kind of sees him as sort of like his protector or something. I don't know. Because we do know that, well, I don't know. We don't know this for sure, but the rumors are out there that obviously, although no, maybe it actually is in the synopsis. I forget now. I got to go back and read the synopsis that Corey Cunningham is accused of a murder that he professes he didn't do or whatever. And, we're led to believe that maybe he's bullied by people in the town or whatever. Like there's obviously a bullying aspect to the picture, I would assume, if you're watching a movie. If you're watching a movie, My Bodyguard, for inspiration, this is all about bullying. That's what this is. So there has to be that kind of an angle or aspect to the movie. And maybe Corey Cunningham is bullied, by the town or by the people. He's ousted. So, and the only one that, I don't know, he has an obsession with Michael or whatever. The other one is Butcher Baker Nightmare Maker, I think is the other one. And I have to be honest with you, Butcher Baker Nightmare Maker, I've never seen him. I've never seen it, and I've never heard of it. So I really don't have anything to say on that movie. Perhaps you guys have seen that movie. I haven't seen it, so I don't really know. But I thought it was just really interesting. My Bodyguard. If you guys haven't seen this film, you got to watch it. And watch it on its own merits. Like, it's actually a really good movie. Don't watch it trying to think what they're going to do with Halloween Ends. Just watch it. Take it for what it is. It's actually a really good film. It's a really good film. My Bodyguard. I really like it a lot. So interesting. My Bodyguard, Christine, and Butcher Baker, Nightmare Maker, 3 movies David Gordon Green watched for inspiration, emotional inspiration, as he says, right? Some sort of, to get that feeling, emotional inspiration for Halloween Ends. Fascinating stuff. And in regards to the tinkering around, I've heard some people say, oh my God, we're 2 months away and he's still tinkering around. Keep in mind, folks, that this isn't like the olden days, okay? Most theaters now, most theaters, I would say near all of them, are digital projection now. So when you have to deliver, you can literally be tinkering. I mean, you don't want to be, but in theory, you could literally be tinkering with a movie days before we're supposed to go to the theater and see it. Because how you get that movie to the theaters now is, it's through the internet. Unless you are literally sending hard drives to the theater, which sometimes happens, but in a lot of cases now, it's done digitally. It's just, you just send a file. That's what you do. So it's not like the old days where they were literally sending 35 millimeter reels all over the world to the theaters, right? And the projectionists had to hook up the actual film reels, and they had to make sure they were changing the reels at certain points if it was a really long movie or, whatever the case is. Those days, not so much anymore. I mean, that still exists, depending on your theater, but your big modern day multiplexes, your Cineplexes, your AMCs, your Regals, I'm pretty sure they're all digital projectors now. And they receive, digital versions of these movies, which hopefully are locked with a passkey, so they don't leak. Universal, anyway. So don't worry about that. I mean, listen, ideally, you don't want to be tinkering with a movie that late. You don't want to be doing that. And you can definitely over tinker. But I just want to let people know that in terms of time and getting, the movie to the theaters, don't worry about that. It's pretty instant now, right? So in theory, you could be tinkering with a movie days before it's supposed to, release to the world. This is nothing new in terms of tinkering with a film that's still 6 weeks out. And I don't get the impression that he is changing the ending or trying to figure out which ending to go with, although there are rumors out there that maybe we'll get an ending in the theater and we'll get a different ending on Peacock. I don't know. Perhaps, maybe. feel that you should just stick with one ending personally. But I think this is just, I think what's being tinkered, the impression I'm getting is nothing that changes the actual narrative or direction of the ending overall. It's just minor stuff. Like maybe, you know what? Okay. And I'm purely speculating, but the impression I'm getting is maybe instead of ending on a hard cut to black, maybe we should end on a fade. You know what? Instead of ending there, maybe we should end it. Do you remember when you said to end 2 minutes before, or like 30 seconds before that, to end on that beat there, that dramatic beat? Let's do that. And then we could just things like that. Like, I don't think they're changing the ending and throwing new things at it. I think it's just a matter of sort of maybe certain narrative beats that they're looking at and they're humming over and they're hawing over. And that's the impression I'm getting anyway, because there really isn't a lot of time to be course correcting right now. I think I think the picture is locked, and I think they are just having those moments where they're figuring out, maybe we should, you know what, they're tweaking, they're fine tuning things, they're tweaking. And you can do that like days before the movie's supposed to be released. Again, not that it's advised. You don't want to be doing that. So those are my thoughts on that anyway. I don't think it's really anything to worry about at the end of the day. Okay, now let's get to your super chats here. Now let me take 3 non-super chats thanks to Juan Rivera. We'll get to your questions. I want you guys, how are you guys feeling? How are you guys feeling about this? We're 6 weeks out. Friday, October the 14th, 2022 is 6 weeks from today. Exactly 6 weeks today. A month and a half. How are you feeling? If you're watching after the fact, comment below and let me know your thoughts. Are you nervous? Are you concerned? All those rumors of everything that I've been talking about on this channel, all those things from the test screenings, from the stuff that's been kind of, from all the stuff I've been talking about, all the stuff everybody else has been talking about. How are you feeling right now? This is serious, very serious stuff here in the world of us Halloween fans, of us sweaty, nerdy Halloween fans, for which I am one. This is very serious. It's very serious. All right. Non-super chat number 1, thanks to Juan Rivera. Joseph Esposito says, as a purist, I dislike how violent and brutal Michael is in this trilogy. Example, in Kills, where he uses all the knives on the victim in the kitchen. 78 Myers wouldn't do that. Thoughts? Love you, Dave. Thank you, Joseph. Well, I don't necessarily think that 78 Michael wouldn't have done that, but we are not privy to seeing it. So it's a stylistic choice to, stabbing somebody through the torso up against the wall is pretty horrific as well, although that is one magic butcher knife. I don't know how it held the body of a 185-pound man, but nonetheless, we just suspend our disbelief. I don't necessarily believe that Michael wouldn't have done that. I just don't think we are privy to seeing that, because from a directorial standpoint and how you tell the story, I think it is more effective in what you don't see than what you do see. However, in a movie like Halloween Kills, where everything is so violent and so, not Terrifier violent, but, in relation to a Halloween movie, it's violent and gory. That scene actually is one of my favorites because it is more, not subdued, but it's a little more, again, I don't want to say theater of the mind, but I guess kind of in some ways. It's just not as in your face. I think it's eerie, and I think it's because it's the way it's shot as well, because we have the camera. I don't know if the camera's on sticks or if the camera, when I say sticks, I mean, essentially a tripod. I don't know if it's on sticks or if it's handheld. It might be handheld, but I really appreciate when that stylistically, what I liked what David Gordon Green didn't do is they didn't pull focus. So Michael is always out of focus, and the camera is almost nestled right against the shoulder of that lady who is dying. So it's almost like we are a victim in that house as well. And we are a victim in the house as well, and we are watching with her, we are dying too. And we are watching Michael in the distance pick up those things and stab, almost like he's testing out the knives, like he's using the guy as a pincushion, right? But what I like is we don't pull focus. We don't rack focus. So it's blurry and it's out of focus and they keep it there. I probably would have done the same thing. It's very similar. It's a similar choice of what they did when Michael sits up behind Laurie and turns his head. It would have been very easy for Carpenter to pull focus. Or to give the direction to pull focus at that moment, right? You know, we're going to rack focus so that Laurie suddenly becomes out of focus and Myers is in focus, but they don't do that. Now, it's not like completely out of focus. It's not like, what's going on there? I have no idea. It would be what is referred to as maybe a soft focus. It is out of focus, but it's just a tad blurry. You can still see what's going on, but clearly, we haven't pulled focus to make it all sharp and clear. And I actually liked that moment in Halloween Kills. It's actually one of my favorite moments in the movie. And I think it's because it is tamer, I guess is the word, than the rest of the brutal kills. So although the kill that leads up to that, smashing his head against the wall and jamming a, light tube into her throat is pretty gratuitous, that moment, for whatever reason, is very eerie. And I think it's the perspective we have watching it play out. Like it's very voyeuristic in some sort of weird kind of way. Do you know what I mean? So, but I understand what you're saying. In principle, I agree. All right, let's see here. Let me get another non-super chat one, thanks to Juan Rivera. Let me see here. We got a lot of statements, trying to get a question in here. Let me go back. Got that. Mike Johnston says, I'm very excited for Halloween Ends for personal reasons. It will be emotional for me to watch the movie. I have faith that David Gordon Green will land the ending, but that's just my opinion. Yeah. You know what? It's going to be emotional for a lot of people, man. Again, I think we should prepare ourselves that this is Jamie Lee Curtis's last outing. Now, for some of you out there, that might be a thank God. You know what I mean? But, there is sort of an end of an era here. Yes, it obviously it's not going to be the last Halloween movie that's ever made in the history of motion pictures, but I do think this is the end of an era. I think this is the end of this iteration. I think this is the end of it now. And any future Halloween films we see will be reboots, reimagining, or remakes of that original Michael Myers story. I'd be very surprised. I'll be honest with you. I'll be very surprised, although, it's Hollywood and they will go back to the well or that cow and milk that cow for as long as they can. But I'd be very surprised if future Halloween films are connected to this original universe again. Unless it's an anthology, right? Where you're telling a story that's in that universe, like a Charlie Bowles or, whatever, right? Like you're telling a story that is it. Okay, I could see that. So then you might get an image of Laurie Strode, or I don't know, maybe she's got a little cameo in a streaming series or something. I mean, who knows? But in terms of like the Michael Myers Halloween story connected to the 78 original, yeah, I do think this is it. I do. I agree with that. All right. And then what do we got here? We got Chad. Oh, wait, where'd you go? Oh, no, I lost you. Wait, no. Oh, there it is. It says, so was Michael just trying to mind his own business when Corey stumbles upon him? Had Michael completed his mission, so to speak? I'd be interested in hearing a light explanation on that. Yeah, a light explanation on that, Dave. It's a good question, Chad. I don't know. It's hard to say because, again, everything we know about Michael from 2 onward, you can't really factor in. We don't know what they're cherry picking and what they're not. If they are anything. Michael obviously it looks like he's been living in the sewers or underneath the town for however long, how he's been eating, how he's been surviving, who knows. I would say that either Corey does stumble, like if Corey stumbles upon him, okay, let's say he stumbles upon him. Well, there has to be a sequence of events that leads Corey to the sewers then. If he's not there, if Corey's motivation is not to be in the sewers looking for Michael, then what draws Corey to the sewers, right? Does he, I don't know, was he walking along the street and then falls into a manhole and knocks himself out and comes to in the sewer and he's got to try and find his way out? And then he stumbles upon Michael, right? I mean, I'm not saying that's what they're doing, but, why is he there, right? If he's not looking for Michael, what was the catalyst that put him there? So that's something that, we have to think about. However, if he is in the sewers looking for Michael, and that is what brought him to Michael, why the sewers, right? Why would he choose that? Why would he think to look for Michael in the sewers? Unless it's just a simple, equation of, hey, he hasn't been seen in 4 years. Nobody knows where he is. And he just thought, oh, you know what? I bet you he's in the sewers. I don't know, just kind of thing off the top of his head. So he goes looking for him. He goes looking for him in the sewers. I don't know. Maybe that's what he does. I have no idea. But I would say that it's probably, I'm going to say that there's something that brings him there. I'm not going to, I'd be surprised if he goes searching for him in the sewers. I think something happens that brings him to the sewers. Either he's, walking along the street, falls into a manhole, he's unconscious. Maybe the water, the fucking sewer water takes him down deeper into the tunnels or something. And then, when he comes to, he's all wet and he's like, oh, and he doesn't know where he is. And he hears weird noises and shit, and that's when he stumbles upon. I'm going to say it's something like that. But it's one of those two things, man. It's one of those two things. Okay, let's get these super chats. And thank you again, Juan, for sending that $10 super chat in last week. All right, a very generous super chat, dropping bombs. Jordan Ellis sends in $49.99. Thank you, Jordan. I really appreciate that, man. Sincerely. And says, hey, Dave, very excited for Halloween Ends. But my question was, what are your thoughts on New Line Cinema teasing a possible Friday the 13th return? Do you think they are jerking our chain, or is it likely that we could be getting a new film? Thank you, Jordan, for the question. Yes, I'm very aware of the Instagram post by New Line Cinema. Well, I think, look, do I think we are getting a movie, next month? Do I think they're going into production next month, 2 months from now? Probably not. Do I think it means something is coming? Yes, I do. Because it makes no sense. I mean, it's not like it's Friday the 13th, right? When did this drop? Yesterday? I think it was yesterday. It's not like this is Friday the 13th and they are just making some sort of fun little quippy kind of Friday the 13th post. It's not. It was like August 31st or September 1st or something. So it's not even, and there's no Friday the 13th in September. I don't even know when the next one is. October? Is there one in October? No, because that would be a Thursday because Halloween is the Friday. So I don't know when the next one is, but no, I definitely think this means something for sure. What and to what degree, I don't know. You know what I mean? Fans tend to like to go to the extreme and get their hopes up, that maybe they're further along than maybe they actually are. This is probably the beginnings of moving towards some sort of announcement. An announcement that they have entered into development. They are, a screenwriter's been hired, a team has been assembled, something to that degree. I would be very surprised, although it's not unprecedented, if the announcement was Friday the 13th movie releasing next year, April. Like, I'd be like, whoa, like, where did that means? And that would mean then they've been working on this in secret for a while. Again, that's not unprecedented. That sometimes does happen, but it's not common, especially with the situation between, or what was going on with the Friday the 13th franchise and the lawsuit. What I'm curious, though, is what version is this going to be? I guess if I was brushed up a little more on my Friday the 13th lawsuit knowledge, I might already be able to know this. But obviously, there's certain things that they would be able to do and certain things that they wouldn't be able to do. So I don't know what this is even going to be, but I speculate that this is, yes, the beginnings of moving towards some sort of announcement, but temper your expectations. And if it is more than what I think it likely is, well, then great. Then, hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Friday the 13th movie coming in April 2023. Oh my God. Then that's great, right? But let's temper our expectations a bit. I think it is more likely that it will be some sort of announcement. You know, we have a new movie officially in development coming, fall 2023 or 2024, or, I'd be very surprised if you're going to see Jason on the big screen in the next 6 months. That would be very surprising to me. I think this is just the beginning of the wheels have finally started moving. But we'll see. We'll see, man. I don't know. Exciting. Very exciting for a lot of Friday the 13th fans out there as well. And I'm also sure it's exciting, but also, maybe a little worrisome for a lot of Friday the 13th fans out there too. Matthew Farisi sends in $9.99, says, I hear they're still tinkering with the ending. Anyways, I like the image, but we don't know if that's even Michael. Could be a certain someone else. Yeah, well, we were just talking about that, right? It could be. And in regards to the ending, yeah, like I said, it's nothing really to worry. It's not like they still need to send 35 millimeter reels all over the world to every theater, right? This is not 1985. You know what I mean? If that was the case, I'd be like, you know what I mean? This is just literally they tinker around, they get what they want, they render it out at the maximum highest quality possible, right? And then they literally just push of a button, they send it as a, it's like I don't know if it's an FTP or something like that. There's some sort of thing that would go to the theaters and the theater, would be able to download it and it goes into a queue with other films. I'm pretty sure anyway. I'm pretty sure that that's how it works, although I'm not an expert on that. But I think I'm in the ballpark of how that works. It's all digital now. I mean, the vast majority of theaters are digital projectors. So literally to get a movie to a theater is like, pretty instant now. Pretty instant. Unless you're like an old school theater that doesn't have still, but then again, if you're like a mom and pop old school theater, chances are you're not playing Halloween Ends. But maybe you are. I don't fucking know. Who knows? George Stegall sends in $20. Thank you, George. Very generous of you. Says, hi, Dave. Hope you are well. Could I get a Butt Dave in the voice of Skeletor? Have a great weekend. Butt Dave. He-Man. You guys are funny. That's the way it is. I'm telling you right now, it's amazing. It's the way Trump love it. But Dave, Trump, I love him. I love Dave. He's amazing. He's an amazing man. He's fantastic. That's the way it is. But Dave is my new slogan for 2024. But Dave. That's what it is. I'm telling you right now, that's what it is. But Dave. Can you imagine? Jesus Freak Bobby Reeves sends in $4.99, says, Dave, do you think new movies going straight to streaming will eventually kill the movie theater experience, just like how Netflix killed Blockbuster? I mean, look, it depends. It depends. As of right now, no. Because the movie-going theater experience is still something that people are doing. It's a generational thing, right? I think the future is... I think movie theaters will continue to exist for the foreseeable future. But as the years move on, because as I've said many times, technology expands exponentially, right? So as we continue to move on 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, what will a movie theater experience look like? I think how we consume our movie theater experience is likely to change first before a movie theater is just going away. So that might mean, no glasses 3D, right? That's something that James Cameron has been working on, not for Avatar 2, but obviously that's an experience that would be interesting to watch a 3D movie without 3D glasses. I know some theaters are doing that, like that panorama kind of experience. I've never experienced it. I think there's one in my area, but I'm not sure, where they have like the screen in front of you and then the screen on the walls. These are movie theaters trying to, make the movie theater compete, basically trying to get your asses out of the home into the theater. And there's other things too. I mean, years ago, they introduced, the D-box thing, right? Where your seat shakes and all that kind of stuff. That's been out for like years now, but that was something new that the theaters introduced, to try and keep relevant and keep the experience of going to a movie just that, an experience you cannot get at home or on your fucking 5-inch screen on your phone. To me, there's no other experience like the movie theater. I have a little home theater here at home. I got a big screen, surround sound, and it's great. It's absolutely great. Love it. Works. But there's nothing like watching a movie on a 35-foot screen with Dolby Digital Atmos. I mean, there's just no comparison. There just isn't. And to be in a movie theater with, a lot of people, there's that communal experience in the dark and, whatever, or cheering and laughing and getting scared. It's such an amazing thing. Then again, I'm 43 years old. So I come from that generation where that just was how you watched movies. Kids being born today, babies being born right now, who are going to be 20 in 20 years from now, it's a very different world. So they won't have that level of appreciation. I think really over time, you'll see the theaters change and try to compete and try to kind of make the experience really cool. And eventually, depending on what happens with virtual reality and how we consume, we might even be able, there might come a day where we can put virtual goggles on and we're in the movie theater and we hear it and see it as if we're actually there. Sounds crazy, but I could totally see that happening. And really, I'm at home on my couch. So again, no need for me to go to the theater. And now I'm getting even more of the theater experience because technology has expanded so much that me just putting on these goggles and this suit or whatever is just like, wow, I'm in the theater. Who knows, right? Who knows? But eventually, yeah, it already is taking a hit. It's already taking a hit. But I think we're a little ways away from something drastic happening. But in our lifetime, will we see a significant change? Yeah, I think we will. Especially when things are so expensive and families and it costs a lot of money. For 4 people to go to the movie theater, you're spending over $100. It's a lot of money, if you get food and popcorn, all that kind of stuff. So a lot of people would just rather watch, but I don't come from the generation where, it amazes me that there are people, and it's a generational thing, that can watch a new big blockbuster movie that's just come out on this. And that's their first experience. I'm like I could understand if you've seen the movie 2 or 3 times and you want to just watch it in bed one night because, you're not feeling well or whatever, or you just want to watch it again. I can understand that. But the first time on a 5-inch screen on your phone, I just don't understand that, man. But that's the generation that we're in now too, right? So it's crazy, man. It's crazy. Mendel Goodman sends in $5, says, "Hey Dave, I heard John Carpenter made a script for Halloween 4. Do you know what the story would have been? I'm very interested to see what it would have been." I think you're talking about his original idea for Halloween 4, which was essentially the town of Haddonfield doesn't celebrate Halloween anymore, and Michael is dead. It really is more about the people of the town and the residual effects of what that night in 1978 did to the people of the town, and the suppression of Halloween, pretending that Halloween doesn't exist and that there is no such thing as Halloween. Not that there's no such thing, but Halloween is essentially banned. It's banned in Haddonfield, and you cannot celebrate it. You can't talk about all that kind of stuff. That suppression, ironically, brings Michael back. And I think like he comes back in like a spirit form or some sort of form. He comes back, like he is back. He's there, but it's like, how is that possible? We thought he was dead. He was burned alive. What's going on? And so the suppression of it just kind of fuels him to come. It was something like that. I believe that was one of the original pitches for Halloween 4, something to that degree. But Mustafa Akkad thought it was a little too cerebral, and he wanted just more of a cut and dry slasher movie. I actually thought it kind of sounded interesting, but yeah, I believe that is what you're referring to. But anything beyond, like I don't know if it was actually written. I don't think it was an actual script that was written, although I stand to be corrected. I think it was just kind of like the direction, the idea. I mean, maybe there was a treatment. I'm not sure. I don't believe there was a full-on script. Maybe there was. But I don't know anything else beyond that of what was involved in it. Maybe it's in the Taking Shape book. Jack Ellis sends in $4.99, says, you notice Michael uses rope to strangle the cop in Halloween Kills flashback? Possibly a reference to hardware store scene in OG movie? Yeah, I could see that. I could see that for sure. Although the rope was used in Halloween 78 as well, by hanging, you know, Bob in the closet, and he kind of, or in the, not closet, well, I guess kind of a closet, whatever, he comes forward. The rope was used in 78 too, but yeah, maybe it was. Maybe it was some leftover rope at the Myers house that he had stashed in the corner. It's the same night, right? It's the same night. So I could totally see that. Yeah, it probably is. Totally. Techno Dopamine Zero sends in $5. Says, hey Dave, have you heard that 2 alternate versions of Halloween Ends are supposedly releasing behind Peacock and the theater version? Well, again, let's say this. That's a rumor. So when we say supposedly, we should say, hey, there's a rumor out there that some people think, you know, that the Peacock version and the theater version are going to have 2 different endings, which is entirely possible. But where is this coming from? Well, this is essentially coming from people trying to read between the lines of what Jamie Lee Curtis said in that video where she was talking. I think she said something like, you know, I forget what she said, but she said something like, you're going to want to see both, or, you know, you might want to go to the theater and see both, or something, which it's just the way she said it, almost like there was this unspoken wink, wink, nudge, nudge kind of thing. Like there's a reason you want to see both, you know? And maybe they're right. Maybe, you know, reading those nuances and trying to read between the lines, maybe people are right. Maybe Peacock is going to release one version and the theater another. There's something, I don't know. There's something like, it's cool as like an event sort of thing, but I don't know, like pick an ending, you know, you can't have your cake and eat it too. What, like as a filmmaker, it's almost like I need to be decisive. I need to pick the ending, and I need to pick the ending. Like we did test screenings. Some people like this, some people didn't like that. And listen, I know it's easier said than done. And obviously the studio would want, you know, an ending that would go well with audiences. But it all, like at the test screening, is this your demographic? Is this, you know, your target audience? Is this, you know, are these full of Halloween fans? Are they just horror fans? Are they people that don't care about Halloween? I mean, you know, that's why there's so many examples of test screenings testing poorly that have been great. Test screenings that have tested great that have done poorly. It's because it's so nuanced, you know. Some of the audience might have been diehard Halloween fans. Some of them may not have been. You know, you just don't know. Especially if it's a test screening where you don't know what the movie is until you get there, because sometimes test screenings are like that too. So, I don't know. If it was me, I don't know. It depends, right? I mean, if David Gordon Green really loves both endings, and it's just a matter of that he just can't decide, well, you know, I guess maybe you do. Maybe you release both and, you know, as some sort of cool thing. But then what is the real ending then, right? Like what, I guess that's my question is, what is the real ending, right? What is the director's vision? I want to know what the director's story and vision is. If you release one ending in the theater and one ending on Peacock, okay, now granted, we don't know what those endings are. Maybe they're interchangeable. Maybe they work together in tandem at the same time and we see them both and we're like, oh, this actually kind of works together if you mismatch. Oh, I guess it's both. I have no idea. But my thought is, well, what is the vision? Like, what is the ending here? So it's like, well, in one ending, Laurie dies. And in the other ending, Michael dies. It's like, well, what is it then? You know, like, I need to know, what is your vision, David? What's the story? You know, what am I supposed to think and feel at the end of the movie? You know, because I could think and feel one thing if Laurie dies, and I could think and feel a completely different other thing if she survives. So as an audience, I need to know how to feel. Like, what am I supposed to feel? I guess that's my concern. You know, I mean, it's fine if it ends up on a director's cut or a you know, in the special features of a Blu-ray or something. That's fine, because I never really look at those things as canon. They're sort of things that were cut. Like, I never look at deleted scenes as canon. This is just me, because if they were canon, they'd be in the movie. You know what I'm saying? And I just see them as, these are not in the movie, and they're not in the movie for this, that, and the other. And they're just cool things to, you know, to have on there. That doesn't mean they can't work if you put them in there. But at the end of the day, you know, the theatrical cut is usually the one you got to go with. That's what it is. So I guess that's just kind of my worry, is that if that's true, and we don't know if it is, it's purely speculation. I hope I'm not going to like watch Peacock, go to the theater and be like, I don't. And then are we just going to go, well, I like that ending. Well, and then they're going to get, I don't know. I just pick an ending and let the chips fall where they may. You know, that's what you got to do. That's my thought. Cameron Woodward sends in $5, says, love you, Dave. Right back at you, buddy. I feel like the woman being killed is Mrs. Cunningham. Can't wait for ends, even though kills was a letdown. Oh, the woman in that picture. Yeah. Let's bring that picture up here again. Oh, get that ad out of there. Stop with your stupid ads. Let's go to the other screen here. Yes, her. Maybe. Yeah. You might be right on that, man. And maybe this is Corey killing his own mother. Maybe it is. I don't know. I just can't help but think that she kind of looks like Lin Shaye. She kind of has that Lin Shaye vibe. A young Lin Shaye. Get out of here with your ads. Yeah, I don't know. Cool. Maybe, dude. Maybe. You never know. Thank you for the super chat, buddy. I really appreciate it. Chad Zorn sends in $1.99, says, loved 78 flashback and kills. Will ends have more? I quite enjoyed it as well. No, I don't think so. If you mean a flashback in the sense of like what they did in kills, no. I don't think there's going to be a flashback like that in kills. If you mean just like showing previous footage, like they did in Halloween Kills, right? They showed a couple of little shots or moments, clips from H18. I think it's possible that you might see something like that. Like if Laurie is talking and then it quickly cuts to a shot of her from Halloween 18 or something, as if she's recalling the memory. Yeah, I think you may get something like that, which for all intents and purposes is a flashback kind of. But when we say flashback, you mean like what we got in Kills. No, I don't think there's going to be anything like that. I do not think so. Andrew Stevens, my man, says over 200 in the chat. Let's get those likes up to help with the algorithm. That is all. Continue, Dave. Thank you, Andrew. And thank you for the super chat, man. I really appreciate it. Yes, let's get, 264 people watching, only 70 thumbs up. Listen. It's free, man. It's free. Hit that thumbs up, folks. Hit that thumbs up. Techno Dopamine 0 sends another $5, says also, if they do go with two different endings at the same time, how do we know what's canon at this point? Yeah, well, that's exactly what I was just talking about, right? I was like, I don't know, like as an audience member, I don't know how to feel. You know, again, I haven't seen, again, we don't even know if they're going to do that. If they do that, and that's a big if, we don't even know what the two endings would be. maybe the two endings work with each other in some weird way, that it kind of is one and the same. I don't know. But if they are very different endings, like, as I said, Laurie dies or Michael dies or whatever the case is, you know, if at the end of the first ending, Michael is dead, Allison is dead, but Laurie's alive. But at the end of the Peacock ending, Michael's alive, Allison's alive, but Laurie's dead. Like, that's very different. And that, as an audience member and as a Halloween fan, that's going to make me feel two very different things. So that's why I'd be surprised if they did that. But then not surprised at the same time. It's weird. It's weird. Connor Brierly sends in £5. Thanks, buddy. And says, for the channel. Thank you very much, Connor. I really appreciate that. Really appreciate that. Happy Sanjo sends in $5. Says, I think Michael will die before the halfway point in this movie. I've been obsessed with your vids. If they did this, could you still like the movie? I don't think they're going to do that, number one. I think Michael does reappear at the end of the movie, or at some point in the movie. He's at the end of the movie, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So I don't think they're going to do that. If they did do that, how would I feel about it? Well, I don't know. You know, on paper, just kind of going off the top of my head, it's not something that I really dig. You know, it's not, I'm not really digging that. I feel like I would want Michael, you know, there for the whole thing. But it depends on the story. It depends on the execution. You know, sometimes we can read things on paper or hear leaks. You see, the problem with hearing leaks or hearing, look, if you're somebody that went to the test screening, you saw it, and you walked away going, I didn't like that. You know, that's fair because you have firsthand knowledge. You have firsthand experience by watching the movie. But if you're somebody that is reading a bunch of Reddit posts, you know, it's not that you can't get an idea. But at the end of the day, you're reading a transcript of someone else's account and experience. There's no music, there's no context, there's no nuance, there's no mood, there's no atmosphere. You know, you're not getting the total package. Do you know what I mean? Now, again, that doesn't mean that you go to the thing and you watch it and you still think it's you could still think it's a pile of crap and it aligns perfectly with what you read. But that's why I think we got to kind of, well, you know what? Some things on paper are like, especially when it's someone else's account, because maybe they're just not a good writer. There's a lot of people out there that write in point form, and it's just that point form, or there's no feeling to the writing. They're just not good writers. They spell things incorrectly, or they're just telling you about their half-ass one-dimensional experience. I mean, that happens too, right? So you're just basically reading this half-ass one-dimensional experience by somebody who was in the theater, and then you're going, oh, it sucks. And it's like, well, yeah, you could fucking write the Shawshank Redemption like that and it would look like ass. Who knows, right? It's the idea of what we've been hearing about Corey, you kind of go, well, I don't know if that's a creative choice I would have made, but I guess we'll see. And that's kind of where I am. I guess we'll see. It's in the execution, right? I want to see, you know, does this feel like a Halloween movie? Does it look like a Halloween movie? Does it smell like a Halloween movie? Is there mood? Is there atmosphere? Are there those Halloween things in there? You know, I want to make sure that if you are going to be a little avant-garde, that you're not removing the DNA of what a Halloween film is, because you don't want to do that either, right? So I'm feeling what you guys are feeling too, but I'm a wait and see kind of guy. So we'll see. Do I think if Michael died before the end of the movie, would I still like the movie? Yeah, again, it just depends. Depends on how it's all done, Happy. Depends on how it's all done. The Slaughtered Lamb Movie Podcast says, you're right, Dave. Minuscule adjustments will happen right the way through to the delivery date to the distributor. Changes will also continue to take place for the VOD release too. Oh, I was right. Okay, great. Thank you, Darren of the Slaughtered Lamb Movie Podcast. I really appreciate that. I thought so. That's why I don't think it's really anything to worry about. Because I mean, look at what happened with that movie. It was really close to release. The one with it had Kevin Spacey, and then they switched it for Christopher Plummer. I forget the name of the movie now, but that was signed, sealed, and like on the verge of delivery, I think. I mean, not days away, but it was really close. And they went back out and they reshot all of those scenes and were able to deliver a movie it was really close. Like they were down like, I don't know, a month away from release or something. It was really, really close. But when you can deliver a movie digitally now, which is basically what they do with theaters all over the world, it's really afforded production. Again, not that you want to be doing this. You want to have that breathing room. But it's really afforded productions now to tinker right until the 11th hour in some cases. So, yeah, that it doesn't mean much anymore. It's not like it's 1988 where it's like, no, that thing's got to fucking be shipped. It's got to sail on a boat. It's got to get on a plane. You know, it doesn't have to do that anymore, right? So thank you, Darren. I appreciate that. Geek Muscle Drew sends in $2 and says, I still prefer your sequel concept over Halloween Kills. Well, thank you, my man. You're not the first person to actually say that. I appreciate that. I do too. My sequel concept, of course, was I approached that as if it was just a 2-part. So you had 18 and then you had my sequel concept, which was called The Shape. And that was like a movie that sort of wrapped it all up. But yeah, no, I had like a thunderstorm in there with lightning because I really liked, I imagined that this storm rolls on in and the kids got to get off the streets because there's this storm that's coming. And of course that's symbolic, right? It's metaphorical for Michael Myers, right? You know what I mean? And because I always see him as a storm that's on the horizon. That's how I've always seen him, especially in that first movie where you see him during the day, but you always see him at a distance, right across the street through the classroom window by the hedge in Mr. Riddle's backyard. You never see him close up until it's nighttime. And that's when the storm, quote unquote, has moved in and all that kind of stuff. I like that kind of stuff. Very symbolic. So I've always seen Michael in that sense. So in my sequel concept, yeah, I had that. I had but I had a literal storm roll in with rain and thunder and lightning and wind. And I just imagined like how you could utilize the shape in lightning and stuff. And we saw a bit, to be fair, we saw a little bit of what that might've been like at the beginning of Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers, right? Because there's that scene in the barn when you see sort of the lightning flash and you kind of get a glimpse of him in the corner. I like that kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean, anything I ever write, with horror or whatever will always be dripping with mood and atmosphere and all that kind of stuff because I love that kind of stuff. So it's just what I know. So I need to apply it to what I write because it's a feeling, right? Movies are supposed to be, an experience. And I love horror movies, good horror movies that really make you feel the environment. You can feel the coldness or the dampness or the rain and the wind. You can really feel that, atmosphere. You know what I mean? I love that. I love that kind of stuff. I love that kind of stuff. So I always like to add it to the, whatever it is I'm writing or in this case, talking about. Thanks, man. Movie Chat and More Part 2 sends in £5 and says, Hi, Dave. How are you? Doing good, Richard. How are you? Do you think this Halloween trilogy would have been better without Jamie Lee Curtis's political views shoved down our throats every 5 seconds? Well, to be fair, Richard, I don't think there are political views in these 2 Halloween films shoved down our throats every 5 seconds. I think at the end of the day, I think there is subtext, not so much in the first one. But in the second one, I cannot help but feel that there is subtext that isn't very that Jamie Lee Curtis has been very raw about to have in this trilogy. There's an overarching sort of theme that runs under the trilogy that I think is very Jamie Lee Curtis. I don't think it's David Gordon Green, and I don't think it's Danny McBride. I think this comes from Jamie Lee because and again, I have no evidence of this. This is just speculation based on everything I've seen and heard and read. I feel that this, these political things that you would say are political being jammed down her throat come from her. And she's an executive producer. And I think it might have been one of the stipulations for her coming back saying, I'd like this angle to the story. When I watch these two movies, I don't feel like it's jammed down my throat, but especially with Halloween Kills, because it's not organic, because it feels like it is just added in to make a point, it stands out to me. It sort of ruins the rhythm and the pacing of the movie. And like I've said many times, social commentary is nothing new in horror movies. It goes back decades. There have been lots of social commentary, but it's just usually woven in better. I just don't know if these Halloween movies are the vehicle for what Jamie Lee Curtis wants to say. So do I think they would have been better without it? To some degree, yeah. Do I think Halloween Kills would have been better without the hospital scene and the evil dies tonight and the mob mentality? And yeah, probably. Yes, I do. Yeah, I do, for sure. Now, the generational trauma thing that she has, that she was very raw about in the first film, I think is fine. I mean, she did talk about it a lot, which is another reason why I think it's coming from her, because it's what she's really, I just think she needed that to sign on again. She couldn't be bothered to do another Halloween movie unless there was some sort of weight to the story that inspired her as an actor to come back on and play that character again. And it was this. Oh, yes, so these movies are about generational trauma. It's like, well, are they about that? Well, in Jamie's mind, maybe, because it motivated her to come back and do the movie, which is why you hear her talking about it all the time. Even though from sort of an objective point of view, you might be like, oh, well, yeah, I guess. I didn't really see it that deeply. You know what I mean? But she had to, because it motivated her to play the role again. That's how I've always seen it. But, I don't think it's jammed down our throats every 5 seconds. But I think when it is there, it stands out like a sore thumb because it's not properly motivated, I think, at the end of the day. But that's just me. Geez, I'm going back here. I got that. Oh, I missed quite a few. Wait a minute. Did I miss all that? Oh, wow. Okay, I did. Jack Ellis sends in $4.99, says, Laurie is scared of Michael after 40 years, but moved on after 4. Do you think there'll be a flashback to 2018 where Laurie thinks she killed Michael? No, I do not think that. Michael, sorry, let me read this again. Laurie is scared of Michael after 40 years, but moved on. Well, no, you see, what you have to understand, Jack, is that Laurie's able to move on after 4 years because, and again, she's not fully moved on. I don't get that impression. I think she's in the process. It's all about the identity of the character. For 40 years, Laurie Strode has thought that Michael was after her. She thought it was personal. She's been waiting for that moment. It's her identity. It's all she's cared about. It's what she taught her children. Her children grew up, or her daughter, I should say, grew up in the shadow of it. Do you know what I mean? It is her. She became the crazy cat lady. She didn't have cats, but I'm just saying she became that crazy lady on the edge of town that, let herself go, didn't give a fuck, ruined 2 relationships. She was obsessed with it, Jack. She was obsessed with it. Then in Halloween Kills, it came to her attention. She realized it was never about her. Thanks to Hawkins, it was never about her. He's not after you, Laurie. It was never about you. What does that do to somebody? I mean, you've wasted your whole life. You've wasted your whole life. You have. So what does that do psychologically to an individual? I don't think Laurie's moved on and she's, we see her and she's like, hey, everybody, what's going on? And she's on rides at, Disney World going, whippy, I mean, I don't think it's that kind of moved on. I think we're going to see a Laurie that is in the process of moving on, and we're seeing her 4 years into that process, but is still dealing with the residual effects. And she's able to make that decision now because of the realization, as difficult as it was. And there's no doubt she probably had therapy. I mean, she's writing a memoir, for God's sakes, which is no doubt part of her therapy, very therapeutic for her. I think she's able to move on, quote unquote, start the process of moving on, because that baggage and that thought of, he's coming after you, it's all about you, it's personal, bitch, he's fucking coming for you, was never true. So wow. That's what it really is about, Jack. That's what it's really about. So that's why she's able to move on, because of the bomb that was dropped on her in Halloween Kills. Like, oh my God, what have I done? What the fuck have I done? You know, she needs help. I mean, she needs professional help. The character of Laurie Strode, I would imagine, will get wind that she's been in, now maybe she's no longer in therapy, I have no idea, but I would imagine at some point in that 4 years, she was in serious therapy. She would need to be. Thanks, Jack. Appreciate it. Okay. Brandon Haddonfield sends in $4.99, says October 13th, 2023 is a Friday the 13th. So I bet that is the target date. Maybe. Yeah, you may be right. Brandon. You may be right. Good one. I could see that. Totally see that. Jeff Morris sends in $10 and says, hey, Dave, if they don't kill Michael and ends, what do you think the best possible ending is for it to remain ambiguous? Like the original 78 film without copying it? I think that's probably true. Yeah, I think that's probably true, Jeff. I still am pulling for more of a philosophical ending. And that just simply means that it's more mature. It's smarter. It doesn't end on a massive cliffhanger, like a cheesy 80s cliffhanger, like, the eyes opening, or, him coming out of the wall, things like that. Like, end it more on a mature note. You can have him suddenly gone and not there, but then I don't know if the gone and not there would work so much now. Like it works at the end of the first movie because the intention was to never make a sequel. It was also 1978. Audiences, were not thinking so intently about this shit as they do now. It worked then. To have a thing, even in the spirit of that, where he's just gone and the audience, whether it's Jamie Lee, whether it's Allison, whoever, looking over or looking around the corner, seeing him gone, I don't know if that would be satisfying. Again, it depends on what has all built to that moment, but it might just play out like, oh, they've ended it to set up another sequel. Like it might just play out that way again. So I think you're either going to have Michael dead, or you're going to have him win in some ways, and he just walks off into the ether. He walks off into the night, like everybody's dead. That maybe, and then maybe, as somebody said, I forget who it was, but somebody said a long time ago, maybe you fast forward like a couple of years, and whether it's in Haddonfield or some other town, there's like a babysitter who's babysitting this little kid, and this little kid looks out the window on Halloween night and sees like a weird shape across the street or something like that, very reminiscent of Tommy Doyle in the original Halloween, right? And he thinks he sees something, and he blinks his eyes, and then maybe it's gone or something like that. Like something like that just lets you know he's still out. It's still out there, or it will live on. The evil will live on. Something mature like that, something classy like that, I think might play well. But just to have him gone, like him shot or beat up, and then they look and he's gone, and that's just the end, and they roll credits. I'm not saying that's what you mean, but I'm just saying I think that's too surface level, and would just be like, what was that? Okay. I think there has to be a definitive suggestion either way. So yeah, interesting though. Fauci Cinema sends in $2, says, Dave, which is better, Halloween 4 or Halloween 18? Which is better? Well, what are we measuring, Matt? What do I like better? I think I probably will. naturally gravitate to Halloween 4 because of Donald Pleasance and Dr. Loomis and you know, some of the sort of aesthetic choices I quite like, a bit of nostalgia in there too. But there's no comparison when you get to like The Mask or the portrayal of Michael Myers or the music or anything. Although Alan Howarth's score in Halloween 4 is really good. Certainly the strengths of Halloween 18 would be Michael, the mask, and the music for sure. And Jamie Lee, right? So it's almost like, you know, there's pros and cons to both, I think. One week you might really appreciate 18 because of all those things, and one week you might really appreciate Halloween 4 because of the other things. So it's a good question. It's a good question. For me, it might depend on how I'm feeling on the week. Greg J sends in $2, says, Dave, thoughts on Brokeback Mountain? I have not seen Brokeback Mountain. And it has nothing to do with the obvious story beats and tones. It's just a movie I never got around to seeing, but I hear it's a really good film. So it's definitely one I want to see. Javid Ben Qassame, is that I think that's how I'm saying it. $5. Javid. Michael killed Jake in Brokeback Mountain. Michael killed Jake in Brokeback Mountain. Okay, Javid, thanks for the statement. Thanks for the statement. Appreciate that. Javid says, Michael killed Tony Soprano. All right, Javid, if you want to just, hey, all right. Michael kills everybody, Javid. Michael kills everybody, let's be honest. Howard sends in $5, says, Bullet Train R-rated and got a sensory-friendly version released in theaters alongside the R-rated. Maybe Halloween Ends on Peacock will be the PG-13 version. No, I don't think so. No. Halloween Ends will be R at home, and it will be R in the theater. I haven't seen Bullet Train. I hear it's kind of, though. That's what I hear. Antonis Andriotis sends in €10. Thank you, buddy. Says, hey, Dave, did you see the Hellraiser teaser trailer that was 16 seconds long? I did. It came out a few days ago. We need a full trailer. Yeah, okay. Full disclosure, I have no dog in this fight. I've seen the first Hellraiser. I quite enjoyed it. Haven't seen it in a lot of years, but I remember liking it. I have not seen any of the other Hellraiser movies. I think Pinhead is a really interesting character, but I don't have enough knowledge on the mythology or the character to have a dog in the fight. So when somebody says that Pinhead is now a woman, I'm like, okay. And now I was always under the impression that it was a dude because obviously it was played by a dude. I was under the impression that it was, a male character, but I have I don't know about the history or the mythology or whatever. So I didn't jump on any bandwagon that was like, oh, Pinhead has to be a god, what, a woman, woke bullshit or whatever. I'm just like, okay. It's a woman. I'm like, okay. And apparently, according to the mythology, Pinhead is neither a man or a woman. It's whatever. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So I did see the image. I thought the image looked really cool. Love the makeup job they did on the actress with the pins and all that shit. Looks really awesome. Saw the 16-second teaser trailer. Not much stylistically. Thought it was a cool choice for a teaser. But maybe this will be the first Pinhead Hellraiser movie I've watched in 25 years or 30 years, maybe. I don't know. I just never got into Pinhead. I was into Freddy. I was into Jason. I was into Michael. I was into Chucky. I kind of liked Chucky, but it was really, again, I've only seen like the first 3 movies. But Hellraiser was one I just never really got into. I, again, saw the first one, but you know what I mean? So I don't have a dog in the fight, but I did think the trailer looked really cool. So I look forward to it. Andrew Stevens sends in $5, says, throwing the assist to Frank for the sexy but Dave fans in the chat. Thank you, Andrew. Really appreciate that. You are assisting. All the money in the world. It fucked my Christmas up. Ah, yes, I get what you're saying. All the money in the world. That's it. I realize I'm really behind here. I think there's a big delay today for some reason as well. This was like 20 minutes ago. Thank you, Darren. Appreciate it. Billy Tolley. Is that how you say that? Billy Tolley? $5 says, Dave, why do you think Michael is so calm and tamed while in Smith's Grove, but uncontrollable when he escapes? Well, I just think he's biding his time. You know, he's calm, cool, collected, you know, instinctual. He has this knowing, this instinctual feeling and knowing that this is not the environment where he can necessarily do that. You know what I mean? He's just, waiting for some secret silent alarm to trigger him off. In reality, I don't know. It just works better for the movie, I guess, because they wrote it that way. But that's what I think, my man. That's what I think. Thanks for the super chat. Appreciate it. Antonis Andriotis sends in just €1. Thank you very much. Javid sends in another $5. Says, sorry, off topic. Is anybody in the chat located in Kiev, Ukraine, or Kyiv, Ukraine? Wonder if it's still dangerous for U.S. citizens. No idea, but hopefully the chat will be able to help you out. Javid sends in another $5. Says, the two movies are more woke than political. You mean Halloween 18 and Halloween Kills? I don't get that. When I watch Halloween 18, I don't feel that it's woke at all. You see, here's the problem with the term woke, okay? It's a buzzword. And and I'm not saying you, Javid, okay? Let me first say this. I'm not saying you. I'm just speaking generally. Most people have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. Most people read headlines. They have a very basic 101 understanding of topics, right? Whether that's political, whether that's entertainment, whatever the case is. Not everybody, but generally speaking, most people. And it's either because their lives are just too busy. They just have so much going on with the kids and soccer moms and soccer practices and t-ball and hockey and whatever, right? Life is busy. So they read headlines and then they'll read the comment sections but there's also groupthink too, right? There's a groupthink mentality, confirmation bias, where we tend to only watch people that we agree with, right? Or just confirm our biases, right? That exists too. It exists in the political sphere. It exists in the entertainment sphere. Woke is a thing. There's no doubt about it. It's a thing. 100%. But it's not everything. And just because there happens to be two characters that are gay, that doesn't mean that, it's woke movie. It doesn't mean that. But if you spend most of your life, again, I'm not saying you, I'm just saying generally speaking, if people spend most of their lives reading headlines and comment sections on Facebook and Twitter, then they're likely to think that, right? So Halloween 18 is not woke. There's nothing woke in Halloween 18, not that I can think of, right? Is Halloween Kills woke? No, not really. It's not woke either. Is there a sort of political, social commentary subtext that was woven into Kills that didn't quite work for me? Yeah. But the movie itself's not woke. Do you know what I mean? I think people need to kind of, again, the problem is people glom on to buzzwords, and because they have maybe a somewhat basic understanding of what it means, as soon as they see something that looks like it, they apply that word to it. And it's just not the case. You really need to know what is and what isn't. And I can tell you, these two Halloween movies are not woke. They're not woke, okay? I mean, there's shit out there that's woke. Halloween 18 is not woke. Not in my estimation, okay? And neither is Kills. Again, is there a social commentary subtext that fails, in my opinion? Yes, but the movie overall is not woke. But there are certain people out there that the mere mention of someone who's gay, or the mere inkling that two guys touch hands, woke, and it's like, oh fuck, God, now stop, no, stop, no. But I read on Twitter, oh no, stop. You know what I'm saying? And I'm one of those people that doesn't like that kind of stuff. So if something is really woke, and see, for something to be really woke, it doesn't feel organic. It feels shoehorned in. It feels preachy and condescending. Then you're like, okay, this was purely just tossed in here to check a box, right? But that's not the case in everything. So, we have to be mindful of that. All right. Did I get the, oh no, let me just scroll back here. Okay, I'm catching up. I'm doing good. Jose Reyes, my man. Jose Reyes sends in $4.99 and says, hey, Dave, according to IMDb and other sources, Ends was also filmed in UT. Is that Utah? If true, what's the idea behind that? Two totally different geographical locations. I don't know. I mean, there's a variety of reasons. It could be something as simple as it's, maybe it depends on what they're shooting in UT. I'm assuming you mean Utah, right? Again, I'm not perfect on the acronyms of the all the 50 states, but I'm pretty sure that's Utah. You can correct me if I'm wrong. But keep in mind, are they shooting outside? Is there a sound stage? Is there a studio in Utah that they were using or something? Maybe it was all interiors of a house that they really liked. Or maybe it's a town, because let's be honest here. We've speculated for quite some time. Would Laurie and Allison still be living in Haddonfield? Would they be living in Haddonfield after all that shit went down? Probably not. They probably moved away. Now, you can shoot in Georgia, which is, or South Carolina, North Carolina, wherever, and still, basically what I'm trying to say is you can shoot in the same state for which your Haddonfield is supposed to be and shoot in a different town and, whatever. But maybe they're using Utah because of the to your point, maybe they're using it because of the different geographical location to separate it from Haddonfield, Illinois. And I put Illinois in quotes, obviously, because they didn't actually shoot in Illinois, to sort of paint this picture that, Laurie Strode and Allison have moved far away. They don't live in Haddonfield anymore, and they've moved far away. And what better way to illustrate that than to illustrate it through a completely different geographical location? Maybe that. I haven't read it. IMDb, I'm not really up on what the locations were or where they shot. I think they shot in Georgia. I think. Was it Savannah? I know the first one was shot, or the first two were shot in North and South Carolina. But yeah, so I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe it's something like that. I would be stunned. And I admit, I think it's a little unbelievable that Laurie and Allison would still be living in Haddonfield. I mean, come on, right? Do we believe that? I mean, if they are, okay, but I find that hard to believe, because for her, she would want a change for her own mental health, for her own mental sanity, to be able to move on. She would also want a change of scenery. We are led to believe too that maybe the reason why she stuck around Haddonfield, albeit on the outskirts, is because she thought Michael was coming back, and because she thought he was going to come back for me here. I got to stay here. But now that she knows it's not true, she probably wants to get as far away from Haddonfield for her own mental sanity and health as possible. So that's probably what the situation is there, if they're using that for that. Oliver Mercer sends in £5 and says, hey, Dave, do you think we could see Laurie broken and lost with depression maybe? I absolutely. I think you're going to see her still struggling with the residual effects. That's what I think you're going to see. Again, we're 4 years into her recovery, so I don't think she's going to be like Laurie in Halloween Resurrection, where she's sitting on a bed, in some sort of institution. Maybe she's got a little job now, and she looks better. Her hair is dyed. She's got a new wardrobe. I think, remember, she's 4 years into this recovery, but I still think she suffers with residual effects, and I think you're going to see that for sure. Maybe headaches or bad dreams, nightmares, things like that. Maybe that's where you get some flashbacks, right? Quote unquote flashbacks, to the 78 original, to the 18 film, to the Kills film. Maybe you'll see that in there. Maybe through nightmares. That's always possible too. Was that the last? No. Okay, almost caught up with the super chats, folks. Javid sends another $5. Says, "What movies are woke to you, Dave?" Well, I don't really know. I'd have to think about it off the top of my head. Probably. Well, I can tell you, Black Christmas 2019, definitely. And they made no bones about it. I mean, that was disappointing because if you want to, I don't think there's anything wrong with making a movie that's woke. I really don't. If that's what you want to do, you should have the freedom to do that, right? You have the freedom to make a movie and tell a story however you want. That doesn't mean that it's going to do well or that it's going to be well received or that people are going to see it. But if you are passionate about this kind of story, you should have the freedom to do that. The issue I had with Black Christmas is that it's not Black Christmas. They were riding on the coattails of a popular IP, of a, built-in IP, and telling a story that is completely different. And it was preachy, it was on the nose, it was condescending, and I didn't like it. And I know, and I've said this many times, I know a lot of women who didn't like it either, even though it was really all about girl power, rising up, whatever. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But I know a lot of women who felt the film was a little like they were being handheld and coddled. And it was a little too on the nose, even for some of the women. We're like, yeah, I don't need to be talked to like this. This doesn't need to be. So that's a movie there that I think was woke. It didn't feel organic. It didn't feel, and I don't think the filmmakers tried to shy away from it. I think the producers and the director and the writers said, no, yes, it's a woke film. Yeah, no, that's what we're doing. Okay, that's fine. But it just it doesn't play. And I think it's because it was Black Christmas. I don't think you needed to have the title Black Christmas on there. You could have just had a movie called Slay Girls, because that was one of the subtitles that they used. And slay was spelled S-L-A-Y. Get it? Slay Girls, slaying your victims. I think that would have been a great title. And then we as an audience would have just made the parallel or would have just thought of the parallels to Black Christmas ourselves. Oh, it's a Christmas movie at a sorority house. Oh, okay. But that's all the Black Christmas parallel there is. You can't take a IP like Black Christmas, call it Black Christmas, and then have a movie that has nothing to do with anything that came before. Listen, I'm not a fan of the 06 film, but at least the 06 film, you've got the crazy phone calls, you got Billy, you've got, the introduction of an Agnes, which was just, a name on the phone in the original. Don't like the direction they took with that either. But at least, it's still Black Christmas in some way. Like you get what they're doing. It's a reimagining of it. It's kind of like what Rob Zombie did with Halloween 2007. Not my cup of tea, but it's still Halloween. Like it still has the DNA there. It still has the foundation of this. Black Christmas, not. So that's a woke film that I didn't like. That's a woke film I didn't like. Or a film that I would consider woke and not organically so. Javin again says, found out Haddonfield is in New Jersey. Yes, that is where Deborah Hill was. I don't know if she was born there, but she definitely hailed from Haddonfield, New Jersey. That is her hometown. And that was the inspiration for Haddonfield, Illinois. Carterman7 sends in $5, says, David, on a scale of 1 to holy shit, how bad do you think Michael smells at the end of Kills? I think he probably reeks. But he probably smells more like that fire smoke, which I actually kind of like that smell. I don't know about you guys, but after I go camping and, which isn't very often, but when I've been camping, I love sitting around the campfire and absorbing all I just love campfires and roasting marshmallows or s'mores or whatever. And I kind of like that smoky kind of feel or smoky kind of feel, smoky kind of smell. I have to admit, I kind of like that smoky kind of smell. I think that's what he smells like. And a bunch of bad BO. A bunch of bad BO. All right, I've caught up on the super chats. Amazing. Let's get a couple of non-super chats here. Mother Mayhem says, I said the same about 18. I feel like Karen would have moved her family far away from her crazy mom and the history. Yes. Unless, unless she, on some sort of level, she feels like she's got to watch over her mom. Now we didn't really get that impression, but I guess if you wanted to justify it in your own mind, maybe because she knows her mom is crazy, maybe she feels like she needs to kind of look out for her in some sort of way, even if she doesn't realize it consciously. It's some sort of, subconscious sort of thing. And maybe her husband was like, we got to get away from her, man. And she's the one that kind of wants to stick around or something, but I get what you're saying. Totally get what you're saying. I totally get what you are saying. Javid, another $5. Javid is going hard into the paint today. Must have been payday for Javid. Sends in $5, says, what is Michael's diet? How does he maintain his frame? Well, I think he benches about 250. He's got a little weight set up in the sewer. And he benches 250 on a good day, 380 on his best day. He eats a lot of raw dogs and sewer rats. But then he likes to also make a fire. And he cooks himself some s'mores. What he'll do is he'll get like sort of the liver of the dog, and he'll get the sort of the head of 2 rats, and he will smush them together. He'll find some sort of random stick in the sewer. He'll jam it into he'll build this fire, and he's just rubbing stones together to build this fire. And then that's how he eats. And he does that because a lot of protein, you get the dog and the meat and the liver and the guts and the heart, a lot of protein. And that's how he's able to maintain his physique. And he's got a weight bench down there. It's incredible. He's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. Let me see here. Zach Axiola says, how's it going, Dave? Doing pretty good, my man. Doing pretty good. Wanted to ask real quick if there's anything you've heard about a second Halloween Ends trailer, and would you prefer it to be another 1.5-minute teaser like the first one? I have not heard anything about a second Halloween Ends trailer. Admittedly, I have not poked around and asked about it yet. I would say that, I think we will get one. I don't think the only trailer that we will have gotten through marketing Halloween Ends is the one we got on we were supposed to get on July 19th, but came on the 20th. On the 20th, but came on the 19th. No, the Halloween Ends marketing train is gearing up. We're 6 weeks out. I think you're going to get another teaser, and then you'll get spots, which will be 30-second online and TV spots. I think they're going to... The question comes, how much are they going to show, right? Yeah, exactly. What are they going to show? How close to the vest is Universal wanting to play this? I don't know. But do I think we are going to get another one? Yes, but I haven't poked around and asked when yet. I should try and find out. Juan Rivera says, just want to say thanks on getting that, my brother. Much love as always. Thank you, Juan. Really appreciate it, man. No problem. Thank you for sending that in. That's a real cool idea. Very cool idea. Frank Riker says, I think Michael just lets the piss and shit roll down his legs. You know what, dude? I think you're right. I sometimes wondered that. Really at the end of the day, does Michael use toilet paper? He's got to shit. He's got to piss. So I think there's a real possibility that when he's out there, he's just shitting. Maybe his coveralls, maybe he walks around with logs of crap in his coveralls. And then he just kind of shakes his leg and it falls down his leg and, he lets it go. Kind of like how Tim Robbins was doing in the Shawshank Redemption when he was like going through the wall, and he would walk out into the the yard and day after day, week after week, month after month, slowly but surely, kind of let the dirt and the wall and the chips and all that kind of fall out of his leg, his pant legs. Maybe that's what Myers does with crap. I don't know. I have no idea. You guys are great. Ben Lowry sends in $4.99. Thank you, Ben. Says, Dave, if Halloween Ends flops, likely to me due to kills being how long before we see a remake of original similar to the flashback style we saw? I don't know, man. I don't really know. I don't know what Akkad's plans are. This is definitely the end of David Gordon Green's trilogy, barring any sort of, miracle. And when I mean miracle, I mean like Halloween Ends making $500 million at the box office. And critically, it's like 82% on Rotten Tomatoes. Like it's not going to happen. And then maybe they'll be like, oh, maybe we should make another one in this universe. No, I think this is it. Obviously, the 50th anniversary is coming up in 2028. Maybe you'll see something then. At the very least, I think you're going to see and you'll see this before then too, because, the more money they make, the more money they can make, the better. But I think you'll see definitely a 50th anniversary 4K Ultimate Deluxe release of them. Who knows? Maybe it'll be 8K by then. I have no idea. Certainly you'll see that. You'll see some sort of 50th anniversary big convention, obviously. You'll definitely get that. I don't know what Malick wants to do. I have no idea. I would love to speak to Malick. I'd love to interview him and just talk to him and just say, of course, he wouldn't say if he couldn't say, but I don't know. The rights leave Blumhouse and go back to Malick. They had a 3-movie deal. Their 3-movie deal is done. That doesn't mean that, rights can't be renegotiated and they can't enter into another contract of more Halloween films. But the question then becomes, is it Michael Myers' Halloween films? I think Blumhouse would love to do Season of the Witch. I really do. Whether that's a direct sequel or a reboot or a remake or a reimagining, I have no idea. But I think they would love to do Season of the Witch. But does Malick want to do it? I've often said on this channel, I think Season of the Witch is the safe bet because it's already got a built-in fan base. It's a lateral move rather than a gigantic leap into some void that you have no idea what the hell you're doing or where, I think it's low risk. I think you could do a remake or a sequel even to Season of the Witch for $5 million. I mean, it's a pretty low risk endeavor. So I think Season of the Witch is the next thing that makes the most sense. But I don't know. Is that a movie? Is that a series? I have no idea. No idea what he wants to do. No idea, man. But I don't think you're going to get like a video that I uploaded a few weeks ago when I said, an alternate Halloween 2, kind of set in 1978 again. You do it like the flashback. I don't think we're going to get that, guys. It's just not going to happen. Yeah. I wouldn't hold your breath. Let's just put it that way. Wouldn't hold your breath. Would not hold your breath. Ben Lowry sends in $1.99, says, will they end similar to the H2O final fight? Well, there's no doubt there's a final battle, for sure. We see that. Does Michael get his head chopped off? Probably not. I think that's going to be a little too H2O. Does he get some other sort of member? Maybe he gets his arms, maybe his legs. I mean, maybe he gets his legs amputated somehow. I mean, if Michael can't walk, have we thought about that? Maybe his legs done. His arms done. Maybe he just gets all his limbs get completely annihilated. I have no idea. But maybe that's what happens. I don't know. Manny D sends in $4.99, says, oh my gosh, logs of crap. Well, I'm just saying. Scott Wood sends in $5 a super sticker and just chats. Or excuse me, and just laughing. Ha ha ha. I'm assuming that's in reference to the logs of crap, perhaps. Yeah, I'm just thinking. I mean, he's got to do something, right? He's got to do something. There's got to be something he does. There's got to be something he does. I have no idea. Evil Alex says, I actually think they lie to us in marketing. Laurie from Kill's ending would have never moved on. I think Myers gets shot like an H4 ending and falls down water, end up sewers. Well, again, Evil, I disagree. To a point, I think you're right. It's always with her. But what was keeping her there was thinking it was about her. The reason why Laurie was obsessed with Michael is because she thought it was about her. She thought he was coming after her. She thought it was personal. He's coming back for me. I got to be ready. He's going to come back. It was never about her. And she made her whole world that identity. And she was wrong. So I do think there's a certain level of moving on that she, wants to do. She wants to rebuild. She's lost her daughter. She's lost her son-in-law, right? She's lost her friends. She wants to be able to rekindle what relationship she has with her granddaughter and nurture that. I think that's very important. However, this Corey Cunningham character is probably what lures Laurie back into the fold. I don't think, folks, when they've said that Laurie has moved on and she's writing her memoir, I don't think they mean she's literally moved on and she has this happy life now and everything is fine and she's completely over it and it's more nuanced than that. I think what they mean is that she's begun the process. She's not the same Laurie she was 4 years ago because she's not emotionally attached to the psychological trauma of thinking it's about her. She realizes the truth, So I think she's been in therapy and yes, she's moved on, quote unquote, but really she's still in the process of doing that. That's what I think it is. So yes, I think we're going to see her happier. I think we're going to see her in a different place, but that doesn't mean she's not having nightmares. That doesn't mean she can't be roped back in at a moment's notice, depending on what is roping her back in, right? She's still vulnerable. She's still susceptible to that former life. It's almost like, a drug addict or an alcoholic, right? Okay, so somebody's 4 years sober. Okay, but that doesn't mean they can't be roped into alcohol when shit hits the fan. Do you know what I mean? That's how I think you have to look at it. That's how I think you have to look at it. But that, of course, is my thoughts. Arthur Vega sends in $10. Thank you, Arthur, and says, hey, Dave, I hope Halloween Ends will be good. Me too, man. Random question. What celebrities would you like to meet? For me, James Earl Jones, Christopher Walken, and Tim Curry. Ooh, that's a good list. I wouldn't mind meeting James Earl Jones. I think that'd be amazing. For me, obviously, it would be Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford is my favorite actor of all time. Going back, when I was in kindergarten, I had these dark blue pants that had a red stripe down the side. I used to wear them all the time. This is going back to 1984. I used to wear them all the time, and I used to call them my Han Solo pants. Love Harrison Ford. I don't think he's the best actor in the world. I'm not saying, I think he's fine. He's a good actor. He's fine. But I don't like him because I think he's the best actor. I like him because I don't know. I don't know if it was because my parents divorced in the early 80s and I saw some of my dad in him, which I sometimes do a little bit. And some of the things the way he looks or the certain things the way he is, of course, you don't think of that consciously when you're 5, but I love him. I love him as Han Solo, as Indiana Jones, as everything else in between. He's my favorite actor of all time, period. So Harrison Ford, for sure. Steven Spielberg, would love to meet him. George Lucas, for sure. I think Eddie Murphy would be really funny to meet. Jim Carrey would be. I would have loved to have met John Candy back in the day. Oh man, even today if he was still alive, John Candy, Martin Short, I think would be amazing to meet. Another good Canadian guy. Yeah, there's so many, man. There's so many that would be a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Carterman7 sends in $5, says, is Michael the 65-year-old virgin? Or has he before? Has he been in bed before? No, I'd say he's probably a virgin. I mean, unless he's into necrophilia. Ooh. Did I go there? I went there. Yep, I went there. Ooh, I went there. I totally went there. I'm just saying, maybe he might not be a virgin, but the other people might not know about it. Ooh, I'm just saying, that's, I got to bring this up because it's true. It's true. Mandy D sends in $4.99. Thank you, Mandy. He says, hi, Dave. Rewatched Kills and liked it even less. Boom, boom, boom. A few things were great, but no. 30 plus years, Halloween fan. So fingers crossed for ends, but no high expectations. Yeah, I've heard that. I mean, sometimes it can go either way, right? You can watch a movie that you weren't really into a number of times, and then you start to like it. You can also watch a movie that you really liked a number of times, and then you start to not like it as much because you see a lot of the flaws. There is actually a psychological phenomenon attached to this. We can actually scientifically measure this. There is something that happens when you watch something that you don't like, and then you start to like it. There's an actual, I forget what it's called. I got to look it up. I've mentioned this before. I remember reading all about this a couple of years ago and thinking, oh, that would make such a fascinating video. It's very interesting. It's not that the movie is better, by the way, or that the movie is worse than what you remember. There's things happening with the viewer. But it's interesting. No, I watched Halloween Kills at the screening. I was fortunate enough to see it with Bruce a few days before it released. And then I watched it again on my own at home on Peacock. We don't get Peacock here in Canada, but I had a VPN, was able to get it. And then I watched it with Tony on an episode of Two Dudes. And that's it. I haven't watched Halloween Kills since last year, like since last Halloween or whatever it was. I haven't watched it because I don't like it enough to pop it in and watch it on a regular basis. I don't hate the movie. I don't hate Halloween Kills, but I'm not a fan of Halloween Kills. Well, you guys know how I feel about it. It's not the worst in the franchise by a long shot. It's not the worst, but I think it might be one of the more disappointing ones. I think. Mother Mayhem says, I'm constantly saying Harrison Ford needs to be protected at all costs. He was my dad's doppelganger, and we've always loved him in my family. That's really cool. That's really cool, man. That's really cool. Yeah, he's got to be. He's 80 now. 80. My dad, if my parents passed in 2011, and my dad is the same age as him. My dad was born May 3rd, 1942, and Harrison Ford was born July 13th, Let me try that again. It sounded like I was going to say two different years there. May 3rd, 1942. Harrison Ford was July 13th, 1942. So it's hard to believe that my dad would have been 80 this year. That's crazy. But yeah, it's sad. I've said this before and I'm going to say it again. And, we have begun to see it. Like every year there's somebody that you're like, no way, really? We're going to see a lot of it. I mean, over the next 10 years or so, a lot of, our actors, musicians, you name it, that we grew up with, that we looked up to, I know it sounds a little morbid to say, but there's a lot of people that are up there now. Your Harrison Fords, your Clint Eastwoods, your Spielbergs, your Lucases, your Scorseses, there's so many. Stallone, Schwarzenegger, De Niro, Pacino, Pesci. It's, come on, science. I think all of these people should be frozen. And then when we find a cure for whatever it is that they died from, we can bring them back. It's got to happen. It's got to happen. Ben Lowry, another $1.99. Thanks, man. Says, please tell me there's no COVID storyline and ends. There's no COVID storyline and ends. Not that I'm aware of. Not that I am aware of. Not that I am aware of. All righty. How long have we been going here? We've been going for... Okay, all right. Almost 2 hours. Wow, almost 2 hours. Crazy. Let me see here. Let me see if I can get somebody I haven't seen before. Gaz B81. Dave, have you ever watched the series Slasher? It's great. There's a series called Slasher. I have not heard of this. So no, I have not seen it. I'll have to look that up. I have not heard of it. Interesting. Let's see. Let's get another non-super chat one here from somebody that I don't recognize or haven't seen in here too often. A lot of people just talking amongst themselves, which is great too. All right, well, I'll get Chester Franklin Jr. Chester Franklin Jr., my man, says, Dave, which ending of a Halloween movie you prefer more? Keep up the good work on the shows and channel. Cheers. And also in commentary of Halloween 1978, Deborah does say she lived in Haddonfield, New Jersey. Oh, yeah. No, I know that. But was she born there? Like, was she born in Haddonfield, New Jersey, or was she born somewhere else in New Jersey and grew up in Haddonfield, New Jersey? I know she's from there. I was just curious if she was actually born in the town. She might have been. That's really cool. What Halloween movie ending do I like? What I prefer? Well, it would be it's 1, 2, and 4. Really. 4 if you don't continue on. You see, that's my only stipulation with the ending of Halloween 4. If you watch Halloween 4 and it ends on that great cliffhanger with, Jamie Lloyd in the clown costume with the scissors, Loomis losing his mind, no! And it just cuts to black and it rolls credits. And it rolls credits over like this ominous atmospheric soundscape too. Like it's not like some rock song. Fantastic. Because if that's where the whole story ended, evil won. And the message of that first movie comes home. Evil won. Loomis was about to shoot that girl. He was about to murder a little kid because he knew he didn't want to go through it again. Evil won. It came full circle, but you can't go on. Because if you go on, you get Halloween 5. And it's like, So the ending of Halloween 4 is great in a vacuum on its own. You just can't go on. But for me, yeah, it's 1, 2, and 4. It's 1, 2, and 4. Let's see here. Jack Ellis says, thank you, Jack. Sends in $1.99, says, have you seen Only Murders in the Building? Are you crazy, Jack? Yes, I have. My girlfriend and I love that show. We just finished watching season 2 a few days ago. So much fun. Like the chemistry between Steve Martin and Martin Short is fantastic. And it's fun, obviously, for a certain generation because we grew up with them, right? Whether it's, Martin Short in Inner Space or on SCTV, or Steve Martin, or the two of them in The Three Amigos, or Steve Martin in his The Jerk, which was one of his first film, The Jerk. Love that movie. They are 70s and 80s comedy icons, legends. And my kind of humor. Like it's not, I love watching them. They're so funny. They're so fun. So yes, we are thoroughly enjoying that show and are very curious now that it's been picked up for season 3, very curious to see where it's going to go. It's interesting. And it looks like Paul Rudd is going to be in season 3, which is really cool. Paul Rudd makes everything a little bit better. So I'm looking forward to seeing where they go. Yeah, I love that show. Really awesome. The Slaughtered Lamb Movie Podcast sends in £10. What are you doing? Send in £10. Says congrats on the recent 27,000 subs. Well, thank you so much, man. You didn't have to send that in. You could have just told me privately. But I appreciate you doing that. I really appreciate you doing that. Darren, thank you. Thank you so much. Honestly, I appreciate that. Yeah, 27,000 subs. Hit the big 27. We're on our way. We're on our way to 30, folks. We're on our way. We are closing in on 30,000 subs. Pretty cool stuff. I don't know if I'll get to it by the end of the year, but I'm pretty sure I should be able to hit 28,000, maybe even 29, depending on how crazy the Halloween coverage gets. So we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, no, I appreciate the super chat, man. Thank you so much. And I appreciate you saying congrats on, 27,000. That's a lot. It's a lot of fucking people. It's crazy. It's crazy. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for subscribing. I really appreciate it because I never ask people to subscribe. So thank you for doing so. And if you want to, I mean, yeah, feel free. What do people say? Smash that. No, is it smash that? No, what do people say? Smash that notification. Smack that notification. I don't know. I don't listen. I don't even know what people say. Smash that notification bell, hit that like button or is it smash the subscribe button and hit that notification bell and smash that thumbs up? Is that what people say? Something like that. Not that I have to say it like that, but I know they do say it like that. Thank you, Darren. Appreciate it, buddy. Javid sends in $5 and says, anti-aging, what are you saying here? Anti-aging fetal stem cell therapy from M-Cell Clinic in Kyiv, Ukraine. Okay. Whatever that means. All right. All right. Frank Riker sends in $5 and says, got it. Michael changes undies from his victims. Yes, panties, thongs, boxers. He's worn them all. Keeping fresh from caca. In kills, he has a plethora. I love how you said caca. You know what? Maybe that's it. Maybe that's it, Frank. And, Michael doesn't judge. He doesn't judge. He doesn't, he doesn't judge. He's an equal opportunist. He'll wear thongs. He'll wear G-strings. He'll wear panties, boxers, tighty whities, boxer briefs. And sometimes he likes to go commando. Every now and then he likes to go commando. So hats off to Michael, man. He knows what to do. He knows what to do. Just find that was so funny. Did I get all the super chats? I think I have. All right, let me see. A couple of non-super chat ones here. We got... Mother Mayhem says, Dave, you'd be over 30 if YouTube would stop unsubbing people. I've subscribed to you at least half a dozen times and it's frustrating as fuck. Yeah. I don't know if I'd be over 30, but I appreciate that. I think I'm not, judging by my analytics, if I uploaded more, if I was a movie reviewer, right? Like if I did movie reviews and I reviewed the latest and greatest films, according to my analytics, I worked this out. I'd be upwards closer to 45,000, based on the trajectory of the pace. But I'm just not a movie reviewer, right? I'm sort of that talk radio kind of thing. I jump on, I do these Q&As, which are probably not the best for getting people to sub to you because they're, long-winded and, long, right? And then I do, every now and then I upload some videos talking about stuff. And of course there's the Halloween shit that I'll upload and stuff, but I'm not really a reviewer. I think if I was a movie reviewer and I reviewed all the all the latest and greatest horror movies and movies in general, like what Cody Leach does or what Lee does or whatever. I mean, they're pros at that, man. I mean, the way they just are knocking those things out, it's unbelievable. According to my analytics, yes, I'd be that, but it slows down when you don't do that. So considering I'm at 27,000 and I don't ask anybody to subscribe and I'm just up here yabbering away, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. But we're knocking on 30. We're knocking on 30, which is pretty darn cool. And thank you for resubscribing. Yes, if anybody, that is true. That's a very good point that Mother Mayhem makes, because it's happened to me before too. For whatever reason, when YouTube, I don't know if they do like a cleanup or whatever they do, every now and then double check to make sure that you're subscribed to the channel that you're watching. That includes me and anybody else, because for whatever reason, I have had people reach out to me and be like, dude, I thought I wasn't, I had to resubscribe. It's fucking annoying. It's crazy shit. And if you're not subscribed, then that means you're not going to get the notifications and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, just do a quick double check to make sure. Let me see. Gaz B81 says, Dave, all threesons of slasher. Excuse me, all threesons. Did you hear that? All threesons. All 3 seasons of Slasher are on Netflix. Definitely check it out. Okay, well, I'm definitely going to have to check that out. I haven't heard of this for some reason. Not sure. Joseph Esposito says, Dave, I want to join your Patreon. Are you still active on there? I am. Yes, I am. We're doing a Saturday movie night for level number 3 patrons tomorrow. So yeah, link is in the description, man. Check it out. Zach Axiola says, Dave, do you feel there was a way the mob mentality stuff could have worked in Halloween Kills, or was it always too heavy-handed a direction to go in? No, I think it could have, for sure. I think there was a way it could have worked. It just felt, yes. I think it could have worked. I think the overall story isn't about that, and I think that's part of the problem. I think when had the Halloween film, had this new series of films been really about the generational trauma and mob mentality, like, I mean, from the get-go, like really, really woven into the narrative, then it wouldn't have felt that way. But I don't watch these movies and think that. Like, I don't watch Halloween 18 and think it's about generational trauma. I mean, there's bits and like, you understand that clearly there is a generational trauma if you think about it and you look hard enough, but I'm not thinking of it as I'm watching it. I don't get a sense that that is what the narrative and the film and the message is all about. I don't feel that way at all. Nor do I feel that way with Halloween Kills. I just had deja vu. Ooh, do 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 do. But I think if you had started early, like started in the writing room saying, we want to clearly convey this as our overall arcing theme and message of this 3-act play, and maybe they've done that, maybe they've tried to do that with Ends, I don't know, then it would be very clear to us when we're watching the movie that this is what this story is really all about. But I don't think it is. And I think that's why when suddenly there's this lump that shows up in the middle of the film, it kind of feels like, what's this doing here? Why is this here? Do you know what I mean? Like, it kind of just feels kind of strange in that sort of regard. So, yeah, I'm with you though. I'm with you on that. I'm with you. Let's see here. Mother Mayhem sends in $10 and says, a donation to bribe you into your city council. Get the left turn signal at lower Simcoe to be longer than 6 freaking seconds. Be the hero Toronto needs, Dave. I love it. I love it. I have not, this is so funny. This is such a Toronto deep cut. I love it. Thank you for the super chat, by the way. I really appreciate it. I know where you're talking about. Like, I know the intersection you're talking about, but I haven't been down there in a while. So I'm going to have to, take note. And the next time I am in the lower Simcoe area, I'll be like, oh yeah. This must be just a very short, what time? See, is it time oriented? Maybe it's longer in the mornings during rush hour, maybe you were down there at like 11 or something, and maybe it was just really quick or whatever. That's funny. That's I love it. That's great. I will get right on that. I will email Mayor Tory as soon as I get off here. Mayor John Tory and I are tight, and I'm just gonna say, hey, listen, man, this is what you gotta do. That's so funny. That's great. Thank you. Javid sends in another $5, says, I was referring to how De Niro and guys in this era can live longer. Oh, you said freeze them. I say stem cell therapy in Ukraine from M-Cell Clinic. Oh, okay, I'm not familiar of stem cell therapy in the Ukraine. So are they big? Is there a big sort of facility there where they study and research that and are working on that kind of stuff? Maybe there is. I'm not aware of it, but I get it. I get it now. I get the connection. Yeah, totally. Yeah, you got to do that. We got to preserve these people as much as possible. It's so important. Briar Grace sends in $4.99. Thank you, Briar. And says, I don't think that there will be two separate cuts on Peacock and in the theaters. I just think that it will require more thinking than the other two. I tend to agree with you. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be surprised if there are two different endings, one on Peacock and one in the theater. That's going to surprise me. Again, this is not coming from any official source. This is purely fan speculation based on the way Jamie Lee Curtis apparently hinted at how important it was to see both, to see it on Peacock and to see it in the theater. But in reality, she could also just be see both because both helps the movie. You know, watch it on Peacock and go see it in the theater. It helps the box office. It helps Peacock. I mean, really, at the end of the day, it could just be that. But is there a chance that, you know, it's a choose your own adventure ending situation? I guess it's possible, but I'm not getting that feeling. You know, I'd be surprised. Again, like I said earlier in the show, it would surprise me because you're leaving, as an audience, I don't know what to feel. What is canon then, right? You know, at the end of the day. So if I was a betting person, I would probably bet against there being two different endings. But I guess you never know. Javid, not another $5. It's payday for Javid today. The Good Cells documentary, if you want to look into it. Director Eric Marola. Okay, thanks, buddy. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. I will definitely check that out if I can remember to think of it the next time I'm on Netflix. All right, how are we doing here? I think I've got all the super chats. If I'm not mistaken, I think so. I got so many bloody tabs open here. Okay. Where'd you guys go? Oh, there you are. Okay. What are we at here? We're at 2 hours and 11 minutes. 2 hours and 11 minutes we've been going. Holy snap and crap. 2 hours and 11 minutes. Mother Mayhem says, I was there from 10:30 till 11:15, freaking Toronto, man. It might have been that. Maybe it's that mid-morning. Rush hour in Toronto is from like 6 a.m. to like 9:30. And then there's that window between like 10 and like 1, like those 3 hours where things are kind of calm. And then right at like 2 o'clock or 1:30, then the Gardner Expressway begins to fill up again and rush hour. It's crazy. It's crazy. But then again, it's a city of 3 million people, so what do you expect? Gaz B81 says, when Ends gets released on DVD, be good if they done an interactive version where you can choose the ending. I doubt they're going to do that, but you never know. You never know. Aaron Click says, maybe there are two endings and Ends is literal. Ooh, maybe, Aaron. Maybe. You never know. You never know. Let's see. What is it? 4:19. Oh, yeah, I got to go in a minute. I gotta go in a minute. Oh, by the way, I will also make a post about this. There's not going to be any two dudes and some bullshit this Monday either. We totally forgot it was Labor Day weekend, and Labor Day is a holiday. So obviously, Tony and I will be unavailable this Monday. I know. Oh, that's 2 weeks without two dudes and some bullshit. But don't worry, we'll be back strong. And I will make a YouTube community post about this as well this weekend. All right, I think I've got everything. Okay, that's a good spot. We're over 2 hours. I think that is a good spot to leave. Well, you know what? Actually, before we do, I want to get a few more non-super chats. Let me see. I want a few. Oliver Mercer says, I've had that a lot with the subs over time, the removal. Joseph Esposito says, Dave, how do you interpret the ending of The Shining, the picture dated 1921? Ooh, that's a great question. A lot of different stuff. I think it probably has to do with that he was there, either in a past life, maybe he was reincarnated. I think that's probably what you know, they meant by you were always here, you know, or you were always the fucking, what's his face? You've always been not the groundskeeper, why am I drawing a blank? To me, it symbolizes that he was there. Maybe it's some sort of reincarnation to some kind of degree. That's what I've always kind of interpreted it as. You know what I mean? That's kind of how I've always seen it. Brandon H says, Dave, what do you think of the new Hellraiser? I was talking about it earlier. I have no dog in the caretaker. Thank you, Jack. That's it. Groundskeeper. Well, groundskeeper, caretaker. I have no dog in the fight. I've only seen the first Hellraiser in my life. I like Pinhead. He's all right. I thought the 16-second teaser looked fine. And I think the look of the new Pinhead looks good. But again, I don't have a dog in the fight. So, you know, maybe there's things I'm missing. Maybe there's reasons I should be upset and pissed off that I don't know about. I have no idea. So I'm not really sure. Okay, yeah, that's good. That's good. We'll leave it there, folks. That is going to do it for me here on this Friday, Labor Day weekend. Arguably the last weekend of summer, folks. Summer has finally wound down. The fall is around the corner. Are you excited about it? We are 6 weeks away today from Halloween Ends, from knowing what happens. If you're watching after the fact, comment below and let me know your thoughts on Halloween Ends and, you know, how you're feeling, basically. How are you feeling 6 weeks out? Are you nervous? Are you excited? You know, how are you feeling? I just want to... How are you feeling? How are you feeling? Hey, yo, how you feeling? How are you feeling? I want to know. I want to know how you're feeling. Comment below and let me know your thoughts. If you want to follow me on social media, you can. There are my links right there right there, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. All my links are in the description. Check them out until your heart's content. And when your heart is content, check them out again. Thank you to my moderators, of course, Frank Riker, Tabitha Short, Darren Sands, Chris Baber. Appreciate you guys doing what you guys do. You guys are amazing. Thank you to all the super chat questions that came in today, of course, as well. Really appreciate that too. And I will be back soon. And don't forget, level 2 and 3 patrons, tomorrow night is Saturday, movie night. I will make the announcement on what movie we are watching tomorrow. But if you're part of level number 3, you probably already know because the poll is up there and it's kind of obvious. But that'll be a fun one. That'll be a fun one. All right, folks, have a great rest of your weekend. Okay, now I'm ready. Have a great rest of your weekend, the last weekend of summer, and try to make it a good one and be safe out there. Whatever you're doing, be safe. Don't drink and drive. Party hard, but come home. I want to see all your fucking little avatars in the chat the next time I'm live, all right? All right, folks, take care. Have a great weekend. Cheers.